All right, let's move on to the next bullet on the agenda, which is let's talk about the different kinds of lesson plans that we have available to help us teach transitional expressions, elements, transitions in general to our classes. And this is what I was able to put together. If you guys have other ideas that have worked well in your classroom, do share, please. I think that's great. Have you guys had an opportunity to peruse these?
Yes.
Okay, well take a few minutes and take a look at the 4 lesson plans. I think you guys need to take the opportunity to read through these and see which ones would work for you, either as they stand alone or to be tweaked depending upon your content or your abilities to. But just I take the next 10 minutes or so and peruse these and take a look at them. I will tell you this, before you get started, in coming up with these lesson plans, and a lot of them came online, the biggest commonality seems to be that teaching transitions is a long process, and it involves a tremendous amount of practice writing. It's not a sort of a worksheet paradigm. It's not something that you can just kind of fill in the blank. It takes practice, extended practice, for kids to learn how to use transitions and transitional elements. It takes a lot of practice in that. So just be aware of that when you're looking at lesson planning and how you're going to be teaching this. But take the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so and read what these lesson plans provide. So in the effort, if we take a look at the time, because we started 5 minutes late, I'm gonna do this 5 minutes longer. But we have to get out of here at 12:35, and I realize that. So we need to move ahead. You guys can read these at your leisure in more detail later. Liz brought the top 9 strategies by Marzano. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So that's the yellow handout, and this isn't specific to teaching transitions like the other lesson plans, but this is based on research what the 9 most effective teaching strategies are that you can use in your classroom. So the way it's laid out, the 9 are listed here, and then it gives more explanation throughout the rest of the document. And of course, you can go online and click on them, and it gives you ideas and more information. And I just personally think the best one for what you guys are doing out of here would be the feedback, setting objectives and providing feedback. You're letting the kids practice and then giving them feedback on, are the transitions effective or not. So that might be something to think about. I also want to say about the blue copies that there's 2 that I pulled from the ODE's website, and those are from, it's called the Real website, and what the ODE is trying to do is come up with lesson plans for every standard. So I pulled up, and it's at the top, your power standard that you guys picked, and then there were 2 lessons that aligned perfectly to that standard. So I printed those 2 off for you. I can't vouch for the quality of them. I mean, if they would even work for you or in your classroom. But just know that that's also a resource for all content areas, all state standards. Some of the standards don't quite have lessons populated in there yet. What they do is gather resources from basically educators across the state and post them on there. And luckily this one had a couple. So just for whatever that's worth to you, I think it's a good resource. It's a good link specifically to the standard that you guys are working on, and it might give you some good ideas.
Based on our research that we gathered, we know that there is a significant population of the student body that needs help with transition work. We identified that. we've got some lessons, some teach twos that we can use. The next question that we need to decide is how long is it going to take us to implement these teach twos and re-administer the common formative assessment. You guys want to, you guys think you want to tackle this in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? It's pretty obvious that transitions, you know, that's all we're going to get. That's all we're going to focus on through the end of the school year. Next year, when we come back to this, we'll either continue with transition work depending upon what kind of statistics and data we get, or we'll move on to another area that needs to be identified and addressed. But we've only got, you know, essentially 8 weeks left of the school year for us to implement the teach twos, re-administer the common formative assessment, come back again. So what would you guys like to do? If you want to take a month chunk?
I say at least 4 weeks.
To do this?
My class won't be that long. Remind me.
Okay. Other voices?
I think it's going to vary. I think it's, for some kids, it might just take a couple of times to practice, and other kids it might take a month, you know, with lots of practice and samples.
Yeah.
It's going to vary.
I'm not talking about the number of times that you teach in that month. I'm just talking about what's the time period that we want to have to teach, and then when we want to get back. And in that time period, should we just go ahead and set a date now as to when we're going to administer re-administer that common formative assessment?
So you're saying between now and the next meeting, whatever that is, the job is to teach transitions.
And well, I'm asking you guys. The first part of it, yes, is to teach transitions. Do you also want to re-administer the common formative assessment? Or do you want to have another meeting before we re-administer the common formative assessment and discuss when we're going to do that at a separate meeting?
I feel second.
Okay. Who's saying yes? Let's go ahead and just teach and then come back in a month and set the time when we're going to administer the common formative assessment. Are you guys okay with that? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
So,
All right. All right. So how long? We have 4 weeks. Bob, Lainey,
don't you remember I'm thinking in terms of it's icy and they're going
Is
to
this
take
second
longer.
period
Sean?
again?
Yes, we're going to be teaching to our second period classes. How long do you guys have the boys? Is the
I think a month.
month is fine? Yeah? Okay. So we've got 4 weeks and you guys decide if you're going to teach these lessons 6 times or 4 times or 2 times or 25 times. It's up to you guys.
I'd like you to all know that the sophomores are going to be getting it in their English.
Freshmen have been working on it hard
So-
with their essays.
My kids are getting more than once too.
Okay, so what is a month from now? Who has a calendar at their disposal?
It'd be April 31st.
I think myself on
There is no April 30th.
A month from today or tomorrow is
May
April
3rd, May
29th.
3rd, May
April
3rd.
28th is a Thursday.
May 3rd. It's Tuesday. May 3rd is Tuesday.
Maybe
This goes,
That's
Kate's
fine.
getting us, so it's Tuesday. That's pretty
Well,
4 weeks is April 28th.
close to being
yeah,
full.
and the 28th is what day, a Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday, perfect. Then let's meet again at 7:30 in the morning on on April 28th, correct? So we won't have any data team meetings for the next month, but that doesn't mean we can't do some pop-in and some check-in and, you know, go to people's classrooms, how's it going, what are you doing? You know, that kind of informal stuff is pretty cool. So, but we won't formally meet until the 28th, 7:30 in the morning.
And what kind of information do you want from us on that day?
There's going to be one sample.
Yeah, we're not,
We're doing all this. They're done.
yeah, we're not doing a
No,
common
not the
formative assessment
assessment,
yet.
but you're going to have lessons or blurbs of writing that you're going to be grading.
You could bring work samples of what you had them do, because a lot of these lesson plans require kids to write. And so you can bring those in and we can share those. You can share anecdotes, you know, what worked well, what didn't work well, how did you tweak these lessons? Did you not use these lessons at all? And did you come up with your own? If so, would you share? You know, so there's a lot of different ways that we can go with this, but I kind of envision it as being a round table, sort of a show and tell. What did you do? And do you think it worked? Okay, we don't have any data collected yet, but what does your gut tell you? Based on experience, based on observation, based on questioning, do you think that this strategy worked better than that one, or whatever the case may be? Anything? And you can bring work samples so that you can take a look at what kids are doing.
So are we gonna plan to have administered the power forward assessment by 2 weeks after that date?
We can. It's up
I mean, otherwise you run out of the month.
to you. No.
We need time to figure out what does it mean as far as next steps for the following year.
I personally don't think we should wait 2 weeks. I think we should administer
should
it
do it
the
that
week
following.
after.
Right, but I mean to re-meet the 2 weeks after with
Yes.
our, corrected.
Yeah, and see how well, because of course the whole point is to see if the population improved by what percentage. And our goal, we set a SMART goal, so what was our SMART goal and did we meet that? And then, like you said, we're going to revisit this at the beginning of next year. I'm sure the transitions we're not done with these. So we'll come back to transitions, after a beautiful, wonderful summer. But that's kind of the lay of the land, I think. Any questions?